British actor Anthony Head, known for his starring TV roles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Ted Lasso, has died aged 72.
Anthony Stewart Head spent more than 4 decades building one of the most quietly remarkable careers in British entertainment. From his origins in London theatre and a celebrated advertising campaign that made him a household face across the United Kingdom, to global recognition as the bookish, battle-hardened Rupert Giles in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Head accumulated a career, a fortune, and a family that would outlast him. When he died on June 5, 2026, at the age of 72, the loss his daughters felt was larger than any number could measure. Let's find out the details. The London boy who trained for greatness. Understanding the fortune Anthony Head left behind requires understanding the particular kind of performer he was from the very beginning. Born Anthony Stewart Head on February 20, 1954, in Camden Town, London, he came into the world already close to the entertainment industry. His father, Seafield Lawrence Stewart Murray Head, was a documentary filmmaker and a co-founder of Verity Films. His mother, Helen Shingler, was a working actress whose career spanned film and television across the mid-20th century. His older brother, Murray Head, would go on to originate the role of Judas in the original cast recording of Jesus Christ Superstar, and later achieve an international pop hit with One Night in Bangkok from the musical Chess. Talent in the Head household was not unusual. It was expected. Having already established himself as a dependable working actor with regular television appearances and respected stage roles, including lead performances at the prestigious Royal National Theatre, Anthony Head was steadily building a career long before international audiences knew his name. His journey was not one of overnight success, but of gradual, carefully earned recognition. That path began at the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, where rigorous training helped develop the discipline, versatility, and professionalism that would define his work for decades. Those early years gave him a foundation that allowed him to move comfortably between theater, television, music, and eventually international stardom. His first significant professional role came in the mid-1970s when he joined the cast of the musical Godspell. Like many young actors, Head spent those years learning the realities of the profession, taking opportunities wherever they appeared, and steadily building experience. That persistence led to a small but valuable television role in Enemy at the Door in 1978, where he appeared in 2 episodes. The role was modest, but it marked another step forward in a career that was slowly gathering momentum. What made Head particularly unusual among actors of his generation was the breadth of his talents. Acting was only one part of his creative life. During the early 1980s, he became involved with the band Red Box, contributing vocals and exploring a musical side that would remain an important element of his career. Music offered him another outlet for performance and helped distinguish him from actors whose abilities were limited to the screen or stage. This combination of dramatic and musical talent would later prove invaluable as his career expanded into increasingly diverse projects. Yet the breakthrough that transformed Anthony Head into one of Britain's most recognizable faces arrived from an unexpected direction. It was not a major television drama, a hit film, or a celebrated theater production. Instead, it came through advertising. Beginning in 1987, Head starred opposite Sharon Maughan in the now famous Nescafe Gold Blend advertising campaign. What could have been a routine commercial series evolved into a genuine cultural phenomenon. Over 6 years, audiences became invested in the flirtatious relationship between 2 neighboring apartment dwellers whose encounters frequently revolved around cups of instant coffee. The chemistry between the pair was undeniable, and viewers eagerly followed every installment, wondering whether the relationship would ever become something more. The campaign succeeded because it treated advertising like serialized storytelling. Rather than simply selling coffee, the commercials invited viewers into an unfolding romance. Week after week, audiences debated the characters' intentions, analyzed their interactions, and speculated about what would happen next. In an era before social media, it became one of the country's most talked-about advertising campaigns. The popularity soon crossed international borders. When the commercials were introduced to American audiences in 1990, viewers responded with the same enthusiasm. The ongoing romantic tension between the characters captivated audiences on both sides of the Atlantic. The campaign became so successful that Nestle and advertising agency McCann Erickson commissioned a full-length 300-page romance novel titled Love Over Gold, based entirely on the fictional relationship created for the commercials. It was an extraordinary achievement for an advertising campaign and a testament to the cultural impact the characters had achieved. While millions were becoming invested in the Gold Blend romance, Head continued proving that he was far more than a commercial star. He remained deeply involved in theater, where his talents received equal respect. One of his most acclaimed stage roles came when he was cast as the flamboyant Dr. Frank N. Furter in the 1990 to 1991 West End revival of the Rocky Horror Show at London's Piccadilly Theatre. His performance showcased not only his acting skills, but also his powerful singing voice and commanding stage presence. The production featured future comedian and television host Craig Ferguson as Brad Majors, creating a memorable cast that drew strong audience attention. Head's interpretation of Frank N. Furter earned praise for balancing humor, charisma, and theatrical energy. In 1991, Chrysalis Records even released his recording of Sweet Transvestite as a single, further demonstrating the commercial appeal of his musical performances. By the early 1990s, Anthony Head occupied a remarkably unique position within British entertainment. He had credibility on prestigious stages, recognition from one of the country's most successful advertising campaigns, experience in television, and genuine musical talent. Few performers managed to move so comfortably between different areas of the industry. More importantly, he had developed a reputation as a versatile professional capable of handling virtually any role placed before him. What nobody fully realized at the time was that these seemingly separate experiences were preparing him for the opportunity that would ultimately transform him from a British celebrity into an internationally recognized star. The skills he had acquired through theater, music, television, and even advertising would soon converge in a role that would introduce him to millions of viewers around the world and permanently secure his place in popular culture. The role that reached across the Atlantic. Anthony Head's career had already included theater acclaim, commercial success, and steady television work, but the role that would permanently define his place in popular culture arrived in 1997. It came in the form of a tweed jacket-wearing librarian whose importance to television history turned out to be far greater than anyone initially expected. Head is best known for portraying Rupert Giles in the cult phenomenon Buffy the Vampire Slayer, starring alongside Sarah Michelle Gellar and Allison Hannigan. When the series premiered on March 10, 1997, few could have predicted that it would become one of the most influential genre television shows ever produced. Over 7 seasons, concluding in 2003, Buffy evolved from a clever supernatural drama into a cultural touchstone that continues to attract new generations of viewers decades later. At the center of that success was the relationship between Buffy Summers and Rupert Giles. On paper, Giles was simply Buffy's watcher, a member of an ancient organization responsible for training and guiding Slayers in their battle against evil. In practice, however, he became something much deeper. He was her teacher, strategist, protector, confidant, and ultimately, the closest thing she had to a second father. What made Giles so compelling was the way Head infused the role with layers that could not be found in the script alone. Lesser actors might have played him as a stiff authority figure whose primary purpose was delivering exposition. Head chose a different approach. He gave Giles warmth beneath the formality, humor beneath the seriousness, and vulnerability beneath the intelligence. The character was highly educated and deeply knowledgeable, yet he often seemed as confused and overwhelmed by life as everyone else. That humanity made him relatable. Viewers trusted Giles because Buffy trusted Giles. Over time, audiences watched their relationship evolve from student and teacher into something resembling family. Giles worried about Buffy, argued with her, protected her, and occasionally disappointed her. He made mistakes. He struggled with difficult decisions. He carried guilt. He experienced fear. All of those qualities transformed him from a supporting character into one of the emotional anchors of the series. Many fans have argued that Giles represented the moral center of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. While Buffy fought the monsters, Giles often provided the wisdom needed to understand what those battles meant. His presence grounded a show that frequently balanced supernatural chaos with deeply human stories about loss, friendship, identity, and growing up. That connection with audiences did not go unnoticed. In 2001, Head received a nomination for a Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor on Television from the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. The nomination reflected what fans had been saying for years. Rupert Giles was not merely a supporting character. He was one of the most beloved figures in the entire Buffy universe. The affection viewers felt for Giles stemmed partly from Head's ability to make him feel authentic. Despite living in a world filled with vampires, demons, witches, and apocalyptic threats, Giles always seemed like a real person. He could deliver an ancient prophecy one moment and then express frustration over ordinary, everyday problems the next. That balance between fantasy and realism became one of Head's greatest strengths as a performer. Head remained a regular cast member during the first 5 seasons of Buffy. When his role became less central during the final 2 seasons, he was credited as a special guest star. Yet even with reduced screen time, his appearances retained tremendous significance. Whenever Giles returned, viewers immediately felt his absence had been meaningful. Few supporting characters in television history have maintained such a powerful presence even when appearing less frequently. One of the most remarkable moments in both the show's history and Head's career arrived in November 2001 with the groundbreaking musical episode Once More with Feeling. Television musicals were rare at the time, and many series avoided them entirely because of the enormous challenges involved. Yet Buffy creator Joss Whedon had long discussed the idea with Head. Knowing that one member of his cast possessed substantial musical experience, the episode became an instant classic. Critics praised its creativity, fans embraced its originality, and television historians still cite it as one of the finest musical episodes ever produced. For Anthony Head, it provided an opportunity to showcase a talent many viewers never knew he possessed. Years before Buffy, he had sung professionally, recorded music, and demonstrated his vocal abilities in theater productions. Once More with Feeling finally brought those skills to a massive international audience. His performance reminded viewers that he was not simply an actor who could sing a little. He was a genuinely accomplished vocalist. The impact of that episode extended beyond Buffy itself. It directly influenced future opportunities in Head's career. Producers of Repo, the Genetic Opera, were so impressed by his musical performance that they cast him as Nathan Wallace, also known as the Repo Man. The role demanded a performer capable of handling intense dramatic material while delivering complex musical numbers, and Head proved perfectly suited to the challenge. The Buffy musical episode effectively introduced a whole new audience to a side of Anthony Head's talent that theater fans had appreciated for years. His musical interests did not end there. In 2002, while still associated with Buffy, Head collaborated with musician George Sarah on an album titled Music for Elevators. The project allowed him to explore a more personal and experimental musical direction. Rather than serving as a commercial pop release, the album reflected the creative curiosity that had always existed alongside his acting career. Several of his Buffy co-stars contributed to the project, including James Marsters. Their involvement revealed something important about Head's role behind the scenes. He was not simply another cast member showing up to perform his lines. He was a respected collaborator whose creativity inspired those around him. Cast members frequently spoke about the professionalism and generosity he brought to the set. Younger actors often viewed him as a mentor, much like Giles himself. The parallels between the actor and the character became difficult to ignore. Just as Giles guided Buffy through uncertainty and danger, Head often provided guidance and stability within the cast. That may be one reason why Rupert Giles remains so beloved decades later. The character's warmth was not entirely fictional. It reflected qualities audiences sensed in the actor portraying him. By the time Buffy concluded in 2003, Anthony Head had achieved something rare. He had created a character who transcended the boundaries of genre television and became part of popular culture itself. New viewers continue discovering Buffy every year, and many find themselves drawn to Giles in exactly the same way audiences were during the original broadcast run. For countless fans, Buffy may have been the hero of the story, but Giles was the heart. And Anthony Head's performance ensured that heart would continue beating long after the final episode aired. The career that kept building after Sunnydale. When Buffy the Vampire Slayer concluded its run in 2003, Anthony Head did not slow down. He is known for his roles as the Prime Minister in Little Britain from 2003 to 2006, Uther Pendragon in Merlin from 2008 to 2012, and Rupert Mannion in Ted Lasso from 2020 to 2023. Each of those major television commitments represented a different creative register, demonstrating a performer who understood how to sustain a career across multiple formats and audiences. He is also known for his distinctive baritone voice in advertising and voice roles, including Herc Shipwright in BBC Radio 4's Cabin Pressure. He narrated the third and fourth series of Doctor Who Confidential, provided voices for animated Doctor Who productions, narrated audiobooks, and in 2018 joined the cast of the long-running BBC radio soap opera The Archers as Robin Fairbrother. The film work across this period added further texture to his filmography. He played Geoffrey Howe in the Oscar-winning film The Iron Lady in 2011, alongside Meryl Streep's portrayal of Margaret Thatcher. He appeared in Percy Jackson, Sea of Monsters in 2013, in Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance in 2012, and as Lord Stein in BBC One's Vanity Fair adaptation in 2018. In 2023, he returned to the character that had made him internationally famous, reprising his role as Giles in the 2023 Audible audio series Slayers, a Buffyverse story. His final major television role came in Ted Lasso. From 2020 to 2023, he played Rupert Mannion, the philandering and manipulative former owner of AFC Richmond, a character whose name shared the first word with Giles while sharing nothing else with him. Geller, who played Buffy, mourned the death of Head using a quote from the show. "Tell Giles I figured it out, and I'm okay." She added that she did not have it figured out and was not okay. The fortune, the family, and the grief left behind. Anthony Head died at home, surrounded by his family, of complications from pneumonia. His death was announced June 5, 2026, by his daughters, the actors Emily and Daisy Head. The announcement came just 6 months after the family suffered another devastating blow, the death of their mother, Sarah Fisher, who passed away at 61 in late 2025. Anthony Head's most significant relationship was not a marriage, but a remarkably enduring partnership with Sarah Fisher. The couple met in the early 1980s and had been together since 1982, choosing to build a life together without ever officially marrying. Their 2 daughters followed their father into the same industry. Emily Head is best known for her role as Carly D'Amato in the British comedy series The In-Betweeners. Daisy Head has built her own career across film and television, with credits including the drama series Guilt. At the time of his death, Anthony Head's estimated net worth was believed to be between $4 million and $6 million, accumulated through a career spanning more than 4 decades across television, film, theater, acting, and music. The range reflects the difficulty of assessing a career built across multiple income streams rather than a single defining payday. His earnings came from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Merlin, Ted Lasso, extensive stage work, years of voiceover and audio drama commitments, his film appearances, and the long tail of residual income from productions that remain in streaming rotation years after their original broadcast. A statement from his daughters said, "It is with heavy hearts that we announce the death of our extraordinary father, Anthony Head. He passed away peacefully of complications due to pneumonia, surrounded by his family. It has been, and forever will be, an honor and a privilege to be his daughters, and to have witnessed firsthand the impact both he and his work have had on so many." Castmate David Boreanaz, who went on to star in the spin-off Angel, said in a statement, "Anthony was a pillar in the Buffy universe, and his kindness and sense of humor brought great energy to the set." The warmth of those tributes pointed to something that financial assessments cannot capture: the cost of losing someone whose specific combination of qualities cannot be replicated or replaced within the professional world that knew him. The tears his daughters cried were not about the money. They were about losing their father 6 months after losing their mother, about the particular completeness of a grief that doubles itself before the first wound has had time to close. The fortune was real, carefully accumulated across a working life that never stopped producing. But the legacy his daughters described, visible in the shows he was part of and felt by the audiences that loved them, was not measured in dollars or pounds. It was measured in Buffy episodes still streaming to new viewers across the world, in Merlin seasons still available to families watching together, in Ted Lasso episodes where Rupert Mannion's particular menace made the show richer for existing. Anthony Stewart Head lived it, built it, and left it behind for everyone who loved him, on screen and off. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.